actually Zope as the underlying application server is one of the largest piece of software in the Python world that has not been Python 3 compatible 2 years ago from now. And well, that was a huge problem because a lot of our projects depend on Plone, and without a path to the future, that could be horrible. So yeah, what was the problem? We started in Bristol. I think it was 2000, was it the second one, 2014 in Bristol. We had the first discussion about the roadmap again, how to move, and some of the quotes was, it is impossible to get Plone to Python 3 because there are too many blockers in Zope. No one has touched RestrictedPython or access control, and they're from the beginning, so it's the really hard stuff. But hey, when a distinct Arthur C. Clarke, the author of 2001, Odyssey in Space, has made some fantastic quotes about it. When a distinguished but elderly scientist states that something is possible, he's almost certain right. When he states that something is impossible, he's very probably wrong. And if someone tells you that's impossible, well, try to change it. Make it possible. That's about what it is. So why should RestrictedPython be the major blocker for Plone on Python 3? Well, if you look at the dependency graph, all of the underlying frameworks that we depend on, access control, document templates, Python scripts, the Z catalog, Zope 2, everything directly depends on RestrictedPython. And a lot of the other upway framework parts of Plone that makes Plone Plone depends on them. So yeah, we need to touch RestrictedPython. And you know, every piece of Zope that was not adopted by Plone is literally dead. Not a lot of the Plone people touched those parts of Zope. RestrictedPython has been around till end of the 1990s. So in the code I've seen, there was a Python version 08 something or so that it has started on. So really weird shit stuff, yeah, but hey, let's try to adopt it. And that's the fantastic thing in the Plone community. We have a diverse group. Everybody has a capability of doing something. So we started it, or I started it. And well, what was the problem? RestrictedPython has almost had no documentation. The test coverage on its own was extremely low. And you know, debugging is twice as hard as writing the code in the first place. Therefore, if you write the code as cleverly as possible, you are, by definition, you're not smart enough to debug it. Horrible stuff. And RestrictedPython for that time was probably one of the most advanced Python packages around. It took a long time to go into it, understand it. But hey, the problem was created by ourselves, where Zope leads, Python follows. A lot of the Python 2 standard library are directly influenced by Zope. There are a lot of packages that has been gone now in the Python 3 world that are just leftovers because Zope needed them. So there are deprecated modules like the compiler package, which was 80% of the implementation on RestrictedPython depending on. And there was no documentation at all on the insides of the compiler package. Horrible. But yeah, the only way to discover the limits of the possible is to venture a little way past them into the impossible. And so let's go there. It's fun getting into the new stuff. and or the old stuff. Archaeology is also. But hey, what does it mean? Any sufficient advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So if you're looking at the stuff we have in Plone and Zope, there are so many fantastic things all other frameworks don't have. So if you look through the web, we can write scripts in Zope that could be used by or written by our users that are not destroying your server completely or something, or can hurt that extreme. We have a fantastic workflow machinery. We do have a catalog that directly depends on RestrictedPython to only show you the things you're allowed to see. So, hell, there is a lot of shit in for someone who's outside. That's like magic. How can they accomplish that? And that's the thing that makes Plone so special. And that's the thing we want to keep. So, yeah. But the problem is, what is RestrictedPython? And especially, what it is not. Because if you're looking in the really early days of Python, the first Python workshop at NIST, the SPAM 1, the first PyCon conference, in 1994 already has as their first topic requirements for a safe Python interpreter. And Jim Fulton and Paul Everett were at NIST at the conference. That was the origin where the idea for RestrictedPython is originated from. So there is the requirement for that. We have it for almost 15 years now, but Zope and Plone are the only one that use that. So yeah, most of the biggest problem in software are problems of misconceptions. So the people don't understand the real problem or the real needs of the users. So that's where we need to figure out what to do. And well, RestrictedPython is not a sandbox. That's important to know. Sandboxes most often don't work. You can escape the sandbox. So if you're relying on a sandbox to think to secure your system, there's always someone smarter than you that found a way to escape. Security by obscurity or by putting everything into one place is problematic. Doing security is a long process. There are different approaches to that, and Python has done a way that has been shown to work in another language also. So what RestrictedPython is a limited, safe subset of the Python programming language, the grammar that we love to work on. But it is so limited that you get it to be not anymore Turing complete. So programming languages depends on being Turing complete to be able to do everything. So if you limit that, you could do it and decrease the possible things that could be done with it. There are simple things that you would like to allow the people, but not everything. You don't need file access or something else. And there was another project that has done that. That was the ADA project in 1995 with the Ravensguard file, which is a limited subset of the programming language ADA that makes it restricted and logical testable, so that you can show that the programs programmed in it could be run correctly. So yeah, there is a way, and that's also the way to RestrictedPython 4.0, the way to Python 3. So, well, if we want to start it, first solve the problem, then write the code. So understanding what it is thing. And yeah, the first read of the complete code says it uses the compiler module and its AST class. Well, go to docs.python.org, compiler package. There is not, there maybe 100 lines, a short overview, but no details, nothing. It's not fully documented. There's no described upgrade path or something like that. Just say it's gone in Python 3, deprecated. And the other thing is, if you're looking into the code of RestrictedPython 3, they do manual bytecode generation. Manual bytecode generation? Holy fuck, what they are doing there. You have interpreter specifics that just let it run on CPython 2. Oh, yeah. It's hard. But, well, if you think in some scientific way, if it's not documented, it's not usable. If it's not tested, it did not work. If it's not checked into version control, it did not exist. And if it's not repeatable, it's not science. So someone has already found a way to shield it. So there must be another way to do it. If someone has already done it, it should be repeatable. That's science. So yeah, it's hard. And compiler knowledge is necessary to port it. Hell, we are such a diverse community that we have a specialist for everything. I have studied computer science. I have taken compiler lessons or written one of my theses about compilers. Well, it probably will take time, but it's not impossible. So let's give it a try. And well, where did it start? On Plone Open Garden 2015. There we discussed it again and start looking into the code. And yeah, the people already decided if that's not possible, we need an alternative way. So Plone Server, which now has become Guillotiner, and some other ways to make a turnaround on that. Probably get rid of RestrictedPython if we can't handle it. But hey, if we can do, let's do it. And so, reading and understanding the code is the necessity in the beginning. And hey, any fool can write code that a computer can understand. Good programmers write code that humans can understand. That's all about it. You need to get down to the Zen in Python. Make the code readable, make it understandable. So now I have taken over the maintenance, but I'm probably not smart enough to do it for the whole of my life or something like that. So someone else, if I probably gone, could take over the maintenance. So make the code more easy, more documented, more commented and everything, so that the community can work with it. So yeah, what did I do? I started, and the first half year I working on porting was just writing documentation, what I see in the code. Just annotate everything, making the whole stat, getting some feedback from some of the Zope developers that has already worked on it. And hey, if you don't have any requirements or design, programming is just the art of editing bugs to the empty text file. So it did not work that way. So yeah, compiler AST. Hey, there is a new preferred way in Python 3 that already was established in Python 2.6. That's the new AST model. And AST could completely replace the compiler AST model. And the compile function itself in Python accepts AST as an input. So you do not need to manually generate bytecode anymore. You just drop in the modified AST and get it work. And you can get out of the compile function the AST and get bytecode out of it. And that works from Python 3.6 up and Python 3.4 up in a very, very smooth way. The packages have already been there in the beginning of Python 3.0. Python 3 implementation from 3.3 to 3.4 changed a bit. So we have tried to make it compatible with 3.2 and 3.3 in the beginning. It was hard, but they are already out of support. So we skip that and make it easier. Python 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, 3.7 are going like a glance. So that's not a problem. So we can get to work on it. And well, the first thing that was necessary was to get access to the foundation or Zope Foundation repositories. And I'm glad that Manabu organized the Plone Symposium in Tokyo 2015. That was the first place where I met Traceiver and get access to the repositories and everything. So that was necessary. And it's sometimes the simple things that takes you to travel 20,000 miles. Yeah. And hey, another thing is we have done a lot of code in the old Zope way. But we are now tending to do more and more coding conventions to get the code readable. And that's what the Zen of Python is about. That's the lessons learned by the people at Zope Corporation at that time from Zope and translated in the whole Python community. So beautiful is better than ugly, explicit is better than implicit, simple is better than complex, complex is better than complicated, flat is better than nested, sparse is better than dense, and readability counts. If you could not read your code, and after 2 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, looking at your own code, it could be the code of someone else. You need to understand it again. If you have not written it the way that you can read and understand it quickly again, you're lost. So the first thing I tried to make was applying our new coding conventions on it. So I did not change any of the implementation details. I just make it following our coding conventions so that it is more readable. The second thing is writing tests. And I really have raised the test coverage. I thought in the beginning it was about 18%, less than 20% test coverage over the whole package. We have raised the test coverage now to more than 95% of the complete code. We've done it completely tested. Every syntax statement that is in the Python language is explicitly tested. What happens if it is allowed or disallowed in Python 3, or in restricted Python? And we do a functional test of all of that. So, but hey, in test, the first principle is that you must not fool yourself. And you're the easiest person to fool because you believe that the things you're doing is good and right. So get another person into the system. Have them have a look at it. That's the thing you need. So I make a decision together with 2 others and said, we have to move. The test setup, restricted Python did not depend on any other external package. It just depends on the Python standard library. But writing tests in the Python standard unit test library is not that straightforward. And PyTest and Tox did give you a lot of easier stuff to start at. And it's actually, at the moment, the de facto standard in modern Python packages. And Tox gives you the possibility to test multiple Python versions locally on your machine against the same thing. And that's fantastic. And PyTest gives you the possibility to parameterize your tests. Not only with input values, but also, that's the advantage of Python, you can pass a function in. So I do parameterize the tests with the old implementation and the new implementation. So we had left the old implementation completely intact, do just another file next to it with the new implementation. So we can test if everything works like it should be. If it fails on the one implementation or on the other. So at least for Python 2, we know it is exactly the same. And that's fantastic. And well, PyTest has the advantage you just can use the assert. You don't have all the time look up, is it now asset true? Is it asset raised with something or so? Just easier. I give directly after lunch another talk about modern Python testing. If you're interested on the lessons I have learned on porting RestrictedPython, what we should do and get better best practices on developing stuff compatible. You can come there. That's one of the example of the tests we have done in RestrictedPython. So we take both implementations. So the new implementation, the second line, is the old implementation. We pass it in and just look, execute a statement and look if we get errors, if the result is also translatable or handled and exported, and we see what it's get out. So we can prove, yeah, both implementations work the same. Perfect. So yeah, takes a long time, and doing it alone is very hard. I'm glad that during the Alpine City Sprint, the people from Zope and some other core Zope developer joined in, stepped up, and helped. So we were able to do it. And hey, if someone says to you, it is impossible, well, things that are impossible just take longer. It's the fun thing. You can get it work. And that's the nice thing. So at the beginning, all the people were saying, Zope is dead. What we as Plone has not adopted is that. Hey, Zope is not dead. The people came up again. Today, or if you're looking at the conference, there are several people that originate from the Zope community are here and doing stuff. And yeah, we get it working during one of the Zope sprints in May 2017 to cut a first release of RestrictedPython 4.0 that is Python 3 compatible. We can already test it. Zope 4, the talk from Hanno tomorrow will tell a bit about, runs completely on Python 3. And it depends on RestrictedPython and access control. And you see on the right, we now have a test coverage of 98.58% test coverage. Python 2, 7, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, all working, all test passes. Each time we do something. So yeah, we can get it done. And how has IceMac, Michael Hovitz from Zope said it? Welcome to the Python 3 Wonderland. Thank you him for his work doing it, helping me. And well, for those people that are outside or knowing some of the old stuff from Zope, PGAB has given a fantastic quote on it. Those who do not study Zope are condemned to reinvent it. We do see a lot of fantastic stuff in the Python community today that try to do stuff that has Zope done before. But they are still stuck in the path where they are not can give the equivalent of Zope in some way. So, hey, on the other hand, they start and say, that couldn't be that hard, but hey, if you think it's simple, then you probably have misunderstood the problem. You have to really think and look how it works. It is a long path, but it could do. And my wish is that we get the strength of the Python word, we have the Zope and Plone community into other frameworks, get them to use the stuff we produced, get it adopted by more people so they can work with it. Project Jupyter Notebook, which was originally IPython Notebook, is a fantastic environment for learning or teaching on Python, doing data science stuff in Python through the web, but you can kill your complete server through the web. So you have to shield it. You have to do everything. And they have a sandbox. But hey, everybody of us should be able, with our skills we got from the Plone world, to escape that sandbox and kill the server if we like. So that's not the thing. So if you do something, and there is tryjupyter.org, where you can get the server up and running with IPython Notebook, that means you have to secure that more or get things done. Django, Pyramid, and Guillotina have other security features, but they do not allow writing code through the web. Giving the people the possibility to write something, a user in a system, and even if it's just a guard method or a short script to move a file to another folder, is something that empowers the users, that we should be able to give them and help them. So I would like to see others using it. But I'm probably also a person that sees, if we have something complex, like Plone, it is not easy to recreate from scratch. John Gall has said it correctly. A complex system that works is invariably found to have evolved from a simple system that works. A complex system designed from scratch never works and cannot be patched to make up it work. You have to start over with a working, simple system. I like the ideas that Guillotina and so takes, but the problem is if you're knowing the Pareto principle, so that the first 80% takes 20% of the time, and the harder 20% take 80% of the time. Guillotina started with the easy parts of Zope and Plone. They not even have reached the hard parts. And that's the problem. At the moment, it is a fantastic framework for doing REST, but all the empowerment that Plone and Zope has done to the community is not built in at the moment. And that's a thing what I like. Yeah, legacy is boring. The old new stuff is shiny and makes fun, doing something quick, but doing something that lasts, doing something that enables large-scale things is hard. And getting there is something that our community has shown in the past and can show in the future. And we should let that down. So yeah, what are the lessons learned I have done? Don't take impossible to port or fix statement as serious. It is possible. It probably takes longer, but you can do. You should adopt modern tools and framework for your help. So Talks and PyTest is a fantastic thing. I said, if possible, we should do that in the Plone community, and we should probably update our best practices for Plone. And if we can use Talks, we probably can easier also show for all of our add-ons that they work together with different Plone versions, with different Python versions, and so that's possible. For all of you who are interested in the way to Python 3, I can recommend 3 other talks. So Hanno's talk tomorrow about Zope on Python 3, my talk about modern Python testing, and Mike has worked a lot on subtemplates and Bob templates Plone, and that's the package where the best practices for Python and Plone packages are currently defined for the Plone community. So give it a try, and hey, every revolutionary idea seems to evoke 3 stages of reaction. They may be summed up by the phrases, "It's completely impossible. Don't waste my time." Oh, it's possible, but it's not worth doing. Oh, we have done it? I said it was a good idea at all. And that's the way the people think. So, thank you. We are done. We have it on Python 3 now, so that's the way to go. Thank you. Any questions? Any other questions? Yeah. Ah. Philip Bauer already have a running Plone 5.1 on Zope 4 on Python 3. It has some errors, so it's just about fixing all the bugs with some of the print statements in some of the code or so. So there's a few things, but it just takes time. I guess if we work on it and get more people testing it, we could have a Python 3 compatible Plone next year. Hanno is giving tomorrow a talk, but Zope 4 is running smooth already. There is some stuff on generating the new startup templates and so on. So Zope 4 has get rid of that server as the default handler for presenting the generated code. It's now using Whiskey as the default. So you need to get all the stuff on the configuration side, right? So probably Zope recipe, ZC recipe Zope server or Zope client needs to be adjusted for Plone, but hey, that's possible, yeah. So there is some stuff to do, but it's just the normal stuff we do on the sprints, isn't it? Yeah.
Any other questions? I guess that's it then. Let's thank our speaker once again.
Thank you.